Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Women's Empower Network. I am so excited to have our newest guest with us today, and it's Damira, right, from Canada?
Yes, it is.
It is. And so, I just get so excited to hear these stories. They're so uplifting and so inspiring of what we've all come through. And so, if you would, Damira, would you share a little bit about your story and your journey that led you to what you're passionate about today?
Sure. Thank you for having me. We already had such a great conversation. We had to turn the recording on because we could have talked forever. So
Right?
I find this beautiful, like instant connection, and you're so open and warm. And I really appreciate you welcoming me on and allowing me to share who I am and what I'm up to. I'm just really grateful for that. I have lots to talk about because I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I'll tell you just a little bit about myself. I'm a spiritual entrepreneur, an intuitive mentor, and a sacred health advocate. I work with women to align themselves to their gifts and therefore their power. For me, energy is the foundation of everything. I believe in holistic health and actually that it is a birthright. And I also believe that leadership begins with truth, not title. So it's who you are. It's not your credentials, even though I'm very fond of people who have credentials. It's really not about that. It's who
Right.
you are, who you be. I love to hang out with women and my focus right now, I've done some coaching and retreats and I've built businesses and I've been investing in real estate and I've kind of done a lot of different things. And really it always comes back to service for me. And I always think, how would I like to be treated? And so I try to treat, it's very important to me to stay within my integrity and to treat people with love and kindness. So those are really my foundations. And as I have four children and have progressed through this life with raising a family and being an entrepreneur and a wife to an amazing husband, it has not been without its challenges. And I kind of like when you said, where did I start? My son was really the start of a whole expansion into spirituality. When I had him, this love just burst, and he was not a planned guy. I was it just kind of like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I was on a completely different path. I was going to college, I was earning my degree, I was playing sports, and that's just not what happened. And yeah, you gotta make the best of things happen. And so he came very early. I thought I wasn't gonna have kids for at least 10 more years. But what that did for me was it expanded my heart so big that I was just like, I was in awe of how much I could love. And not that I wasn't loving people before, but this just changed me. And throughout my childhood, I had some, I would say, experiences on the daily where I didn't really understand why I heard, knew, saw things that weren't maybe right in front of you. And I really didn't know how to handle that energy being such a deep empath. And so that led me through a series of, I was just kind of doing life wild for a while. And I didn't really understand that. But when my son came along, my spiritual gifts and my ability to um, hone into those sacred gifts really started to expand. And then I started a really deep healing journey. And that was amazing. I actually did a lot of work within the indigenous culture, which I love and adore. I did sweats and I did a fast, like a 4-day fast, which was crazy. So I'm really an experiencer of life, and I feel like I've been gathering all of this wisdom throughout these very, I would say deep experiences. And so I've worked with people in different ways. I used to be a massage therapist. And so I got to work on people's body, and that opened up experiences of energy. And I did some Reiki work and a whole bunch of different modalities. And I think that really coincided with the healing that was happening for me. So that's kind of how I got started. And throughout, I've done different things, and which has kind of brought me to I would say about 6 years ago, I'm not great with time, but I had been taking care of my mom for about 6 years. She was suffering from cancer. My dad had passed from a massive heart attack, and it all happened in one, I had like this decade of like, wow, I had to breathe through it. And after taking care of her, I was burnt. I was completely burnt. I was running two businesses, four children. My mom was, I was caregiving for her every day. And I kind of forgot about me within that. And I was very driven and I was going to handle it and all, and I was going to get it done. And after my mom passed, I took a year to just really restore. I mean, I hadn't even been to the dentist, like I was like, I hadn't been anywhere. I hadn't had a blood test or a check or, I deal in holistic medicine, but I hadn't been doing anything for myself. And so then I took kind of a year of rest and then I started coaching again and hosting retreats and I was just loving it and loving it. I was like, oh, I'm healing. I'm ready to serve because I have just this big passion. I want to serve, right? Like there's a bigger mission on my heart here for women to be who they really are and just to know your own truth and to know that you get to live from that. And so I was very passionate about it, and lo and behold, I live in northern Canada, and I was out planting trees with my amazing husband, and I just wasn't feeling good. And we were covered head to toe, and as I was telling you, Ginny, like we're in the seasons of bugs here, and right? And I came into the house after I wasn't feeling good after about 3:25, and I just felt sick. And I was in bed for it. And I took my stuff off and I was covered head to toe in bug bites. Like just as like you couldn't find my neck amongst all of the bites.
Wow.
And yeah, it was tough. And I stayed in bed for about 3 days and then with a really massive headache and I couldn't move. And finally, I kind of tried to drag myself out of bed, but it just wasn't feeling better. And like within 3 weeks, I was bedridden. I couldn't move. I couldn't get
Wow.
out of bed. Yeah, I couldn't even pull the covers off. I mean, I would scream. And that's how I was in so much pain. And I went down a path of, trying to get some answers. And really about myself is that I've just really always trusted my intuition. And I knew some of the things that were being said to me were not true, like being prescribed rheumatoid arthritis medicine that was going to burn holes in my stomach. And I was like, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't. So after about 3 months, I just decided I wasn't doing this anymore. So I got myself out of bed and I just sat quietly and asked for all the solutions. I didn't go into all the problems. I didn't talk about the pain. I didn't do any of the things to sort of create more of that in my life. And I started a deeper healing journey, and which kind of there's more to that story, but I mean, I could go forever. But anyway, what happened was, because I have this big um mission on my heart to serve is I kind of the last year, probably July, I was pretty tired. And I had been doing a lot of things and I was a little bit upset because my brain wasn't working the way I wanted it to work. I wasn't as productive. And I know I'm never gonna run the way I did in my 20s and early 30s, but I was just like, okay, well, this is maybe as good as it gets. Do you know what I mean? I've been doing so many things. And so I was asking, like, what's my next step? Like, where do I go from here? And I talked to a friend I had met like a year before. We weren't good friends, but when we met, we kind of just like knew each other. When you have those experience, kind of like you and
Yeah.
I did, like, right? You just kind of like, oh, this person's awesome. And instantly you're friends. And she was doing something in health. And I've been in health and wellness for a very long time, doing holistic health, naturopathy. I believe the body can heal itself. And I was like, 2 days after I had really been sitting and just really listening and asking, this came. And that changed everything for me. My health improved and I just got better and better and better. And I started taking these products with stem cells. We make our own stem cells. And I was like, okay, here we go. And I continued to use the products and get involved and build a community around me. And I'm just getting better and better. So what I really know about about our health and our body and our vessel and whatever you want to call it, if it isn't able to hold your passion, your spirit, your soul, you will burn out. And I know so many amazing, just like we were talking about how many amazing women there are out there. And I know that if your body isn't working to its optimum, then you can have all the desire and passion within you to serve at a higher level, whatever that looks like for you, but you're going to struggle. And so I think we don't have to struggle. There's
No.
things happening, there's things going on that we can do. So I'm really like, and people lose hope and a lot of people are sick. And I'm really here to tell you, you can heal your body. You really can.
I'm so grateful that you have this message. I mean, I've known this a long time. And, for me, just recently, I have a specific, not specific, but I have a type of diet when it's wintertime and it's cold. And I was just sitting there, kind of like in a meditative state, going, okay, I need to go to the grocery store. I need some ideas of what I'm going to go get. And I was totally blown away to what I was drawn to. There are all these like Thai salads and lettuce wraps. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't need the meat anymore. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it's learning. I don't think we listen. We're always looking outside of ourselves. And you've talked a lot about that, of being an empath and being intuitive and listening to your own inner guidance and feeling out what other people are telling you, whether that really is true for you or not. I'm
Yeah.
honored that you have the strength and the conviction to be true to you.
Oh, thank you. It has it has its challenges. It has, and I came out a little bit determined and stubborn, I think.
It
Um,
helps.
but it helped me make it through some things before I was really tuned into there is no push, there is no reason to fight. You just need to ask and listen to that inner voice, that intuition. And thank you for saying those very nice things. I do appreciate that. But what I do know is that that is possible for everyone. And really taking responsibility for your life, like people, we kind of have been trained to like defer to somebody else. And like even if somebody's working with me, I'm like, I'm not telling you what to do, I'm reflecting to you. You get to decide, and there are simple techniques that if you don't like, we go through things and we make decisions and we're like, holy smokes, what was I thinking? Because it turned out like a spray blows up in your face. And then little by little, when we hear all these things and then we stop really listening to ourselves because we think we made a mistake, which was just a learning experience,
Right?
we start to forget ourselves. And then we don't trust ourselves. And this is just like, bring it back. And it doesn't have to be like in this one full sweep. Now I'm listening to everything and I got this, because whoever really has that all the time. But it's just taking those little steps, And so, like, one of my greatest pleasures, I just love it when I'm working with women and I see the light go on and they're just like, right. And you see their spine straighten and the strength comes in, and it's just like, right. Like, look at what you can do. Look at all the beauty and the gifts inside of you. And we're all different for a reason. What a bore this would be if we were all replicas of each other. So I like encourage, and you add your own flavor, like be who you are. Don't go out and hurt people, because there's consequences to that too, but be intentional. And like, it's your life. Be intentional. Decide what you want. Everybody says have this, and this. Is that really valuable?
Right.
Like, we don't ask ourselves enough questions. Like, I sit and ask myself. Honestly, if I'm not talking to other people, I'm talking to myself, because I'm checking in, like, I'm like, so what do you really think about that? Where does that come from? What's happening? And like, instead of I look at, things can be challenging, but I get curious about that challenge. I can take this path or this path. I can do my best to discern that this is possibly the outcome and this is the possibly the outcome. But like even Ginny, when you said when you started what you're doing, you had no idea where it was going, but you
No.
just trusted yourself enough to keep doing it. And I think that's where the magic is.
I really appreciate that too. And I loved what you said, checking in, like, why are you experiencing this? Not like, why is this happening to me, but that life is happening for you. So what is instead of being the victim, you know, what is this lesson? What am I learning about this? And like you said, I love that. You have choices. Do I take this choice or do I take this choice? And neither one is wrong, right? It's, you know, because there's
Well,
beauty comes
even
out of
not
all of it.
choices. Do you know what I mean? Like, even when you ignore something, that's a choice. Like, that's still a choice. And you could pretend you don't see the choice, but you are making the choice. And the real truth is, you can't BS yourself. You can pretend you don't know, but you do know. Right. And like you spend as much time as you'll ever spend with anybody as yourself. And if you want to tell yourself lies, deep down, you do. If you just take a moment to like look at it and sometimes a step back from that, you will see it. You will actually see it. And the other thing that I like to do, and I try to remember to say this to people, is that um like we have these things attached to us, these phones. This is like how we live our life now. So, like, voice message to yourself. Like, I talk text to myself. And, like, so if I'm like having to make a decision or like there's something I'm really interested in, I want to expand in it, I talk to myself and then I listen back. And it's like, okay, so what are you really saying there, Damira? Because our mind can like be scattered at a million things and then also that programming. But you can just take a breath and really listen to what you're saying, and then you can pick out the nuggets and then go from there. And so like have a conversation with yourself if you're not a journaler.
It is. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that because I downloaded a very specific app, a voice memo app for that
Yep.
very reason. And two, because you get these inspirational thought or
Yep.
ideas, and if you
Yep.
don't capture them a lot of times, they're gone. They're just
So many times, right? Oh, I'll remember that. No, not ever
no.
once have I remembered.
Right? And it's so infuriating. It's like, oh, I'll remember that in the morning.
Nope.
No. Yeah.
I know. I get it. And that's just a choice. It's a real easy choice. Like every day we get to make a choice about whether we do what we do, but that's a real easy choice. And starting to like if you haven't been listening to yourself for a long time and your life's been clamoring around you, it's a really easy choice to take 10 minutes to instead of thinking it over and over and over and get off the hamster wheel and talk to text. Like, don't journal if you don't want to. We literally have our phones everywhere. You can do that in the car. There's so many opportunities and little moments. And I think one other thing is we should just give ourselves permission to like do it the way that feels good for us.
And this is what I'm excited about meeting you and the gifts that you bring is, don't do it alone. I mean, so many of us had to come up the
Yeah.
ranks by ourselves, but that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
And I can feel your passion, your wisdom, your intuitiveness, and your generosity and there's a word I'm looking for, like the honoring that you honor the other
Oh,
person and their path. And so tell us about your services. If somebody wanted to work
sure.
with you,
Sure.
tell us about that.
Sure. Thank you. That was so nice and you nailed it. I really do intend to honor. And I find when somebody works with me, they can work in me with me as a one-time capacity. I have different ways where we actually go through and it could be a specific issue that you're working through, or you want an expansion on something. And what I actually do is I tune into your higher frequency and I bring that information in for you. Oftentimes I don't remember what I've said to you because it's for you, right? It's for
Right.
your information. I do work with people one-on-one. That's a very deep containers. So like I'm not your girl if you want to stay on the surface, but if you want to move and you want to get through stuff, I'm your girl. Like what we can do in a 3 month intensive is what I would say is equivalent to a year. So if you want to go deep and far and wide, and I can help you in all facets of your life, I particularly would want to look at your health. That's why I have some of the health products that I have because this like you could feel like kind of a passionate person. If I don't take care of this, like the passion I have inside just burns the shit out of me, right? So it's like I really, really know foundationally that every level needs to be taken care of. And I think lots of times as women, we put our physical self to the side. And even though we know we need to do something, we often put it to the end. Even we'll eat last, right? Like we'll do these things. And so I work in a physical, energetic, spiritual, mental capacity. And I also am a strategist. Like I absolutely love to build businesses and I love to like I can see the big picture and then break it down for you so that we can create what you really want. So those are the ways that I'm currently serving people.
And what's so beautiful about that too is it's sometimes, you mentioned the hamster wheel. We're caught on it and we don't hear ourselves. It's like a fish in water or the air that we breathe. It's so close to us that, we don't even know how we're in our own way.
Yeah.
So to have somebody so
So
gifted like
true.
you are to be able to, have somebody to talk to who doesn't have an agenda.
Yeah.
You're just
Thank you.
there to serve them and whatever's the highest and best good for that person. I just loved that.
Yeah,
Well,
you nailed it. Thank you. You're just getting it. I love
yeah,
it.
I
And
do, I
you know,
do, I do,
awesome.
I do.
It's
So
all perspective, right? It's all
it is,
perspective.
it
Hmm.
is, and that's what's so beautiful about how not all coaches are created equal, you know,
Yeah.
and and really tune in to if somebody is right for you, so if you want to get in touch with uh Damira, sorry about
Dinner.
that. I was
Yeah.
like,
I know it's okay. People say it different all the time. It's all good. Not
well, I was
attached.
forgetting the D. I'm like, what's the first letter?
It's
I
not
just
a
wanted to
team.
say Mira. But we'll put her information above the
Sure.
interview and also in the comments. If you just want to have a chat with her and see if you're
Hmm.
a good fit or learn more about her products or her services and what she
Yeah.
does, please reach out to her because
Yeah.
I can
Thank
just tell
you.
you, yeah, we both had this instant connection and I appreciate and love the space that she's choosing to be of service in because she's going to reach so many other people that I won't, and many others
Oh,
won't.
I love
So
that. Oh, I
it's
love that. I love what you're creating. I'm so glad to be connected to you. I feel like we get to lift each other as we go. And I really want to create win-win situations. And thank you for that opening. And truly, a conversation always is a great way to start. And you'll know, and I'll know whether we resonate or not. So, I love speaking to people and it will be a heart-centered phone call and I'm just really here to do the good work.
that's so beautiful. Well, like I said, we'll be sure to put that information there so you
Sure.
can get in touch with Damira. And before we go today, are there any
Yeah.
part of words of wisdom that you would like to share
I have so many words all the time. What are my words of wisdom today? Let me
in
just
this
like take
moment?
a moment. Yes. I would say that everyone has value. Your gifts are to be expressed. You are loved immensely and the world needs you.
That's beautiful. Well, Damira, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been such a
Yeah.
pleasure and an honor.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate you, and it was fun.